Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm going to be using the Bitty Buzzwords Be Mine stamps and dies. And we're going to be talking about alcohol inks. So here I have some Yupo paper from Ranger. I also have the little handheld air pump from Tim Holtz. And then I have my alcohol inks. I have a variety of them. First, I just have your regular classic color alcohol inks. I have a couple of the metallic mixatives, and then, of course, the alcohol blending solution. I also have alcohol pearls in here, which are basically behave the same way as alcohol inks, but then they just have a little bit of shimmer in them, but I'm not going to be using them today. I also have just your run-of-the-mill isopropyl alcohol that I picked up off, my Walmart or Target or wherever shelves. So first, this Yupo paper, alcohol inks require specialty paper. So let's start there. If you are trying to do this on regular paper, it's not going to work. They're not going to move. You have to have this slick, non-porous surface. They're 5x7. I like to cut mine in half so that I get 2 cards out of each piece. But certainly you could do a full 5x7 piece and do a 5x7 card, or cut that down to an A2 size card. So the reason I'm doing this is because alcohol inks is one of the most popular videos on my channel. But I realized I've learned a few things since then, and I thought maybe I would try it. So this card here, basically when I learned how to use alcohol inks, the way that I learned how to do it was put down a ton of blending solution, drop in your colors all at one time, and then see what you can do to move them around. I didn't even have the hand pumpy tool. Also, you don't necessarily need it. I will tell you, I feel like I get better control with it, but you could also use a straw. So if you have one of those in the house and you're just getting into this, maybe don't spend the money for the hand pumpy tool quite yet. So I'm moving around the inks and I'm liking the way that they're looking. They're very pretty. And honestly, if I wasn't doing this as a piece to show you the things I've learned, I probably would have just left it and been very happy with the results. But that's not what happened. So first things first that I learned is if you're going to be adding this type of application, if you're going to be adding metallic mixatives, you probably want to add them right at the beginning. When everything is still wet and fluid, and that way it doesn't create these pockets. Because I found with the metallic mixatives that unless it's really wet, they don't really move a lot. So the other thing I learned is you have to be careful in going back and adding in more of your blending solution, because you get these gigantic bubbles, and especially if you're trying to get some sort of color blend, it can make your colors really muddy if you're just kind of dropping it all over. So here I've added it and now I can get my metallic mixative to move, but now my colors are super muddy. I have these weird pockets. And so I'm not really loving the look of it. With alcohol inks, the nice thing, because it's a non-porous surface, here this is just a baby wipe. You can see that it's not coming up. And the reason it's not coming up is because you have to clean it with alcohol, hence the 99-cent isopropyl alcohol that I purchased, so that I'm not wasting my blending solution, which is a little bit more than 99 cents, to clean it up. And so I could have just kept cleaning this piece. There would be some staining, but not a ton. I'm working on a waffle flower watercolor media mat, and can we just give it up for them for how easy it is to clean this thing off? It's I think it's silicone based, but it's fantastic. So here you can reuse your pieces. I probably could have cleaned this one a little bit better, but I wasn't really stressing about it. So I'm going to drop in more of my blending solution, and you can see that it is going to move the colors that are already on there, but I'm not worried about it because I'm doing the same color scheme. So this time when I put my alcohol blending solution down and I'm adding all of my colors at one time, I am also going to add in my mixative. while everything is still wet, so that way it'll move a little bit better. I'm going to blow that around, and once, I'm happy with how those colors are mixing. The other thing that I had a hard time with is you tend to get these kind of splashy edges, and I wanted more of a flow. I had seen other people's projects, and there was more of kind of like this softening of color. And how I have found to achieve that is to not add the blending solution directly into your colors, but to add it kind of along the side and then blow your color out into it. Or you could just kind of let it do its own thing. It will eventually run out there on its own anyway. But I found that that's how I kind of got those soft, flowy edges that I was a much bigger fan of. Because I still wanted, some dark spots and some light spots. That's one of the beautiful things about alcohol ink is the different looks that you can get with it. Now, I have done a video quite some time ago where I did gold foil as well. And somebody had asked me on there, like, what is it sticking to? Well, when you have a lot of alcohol inks, it kind of dries a little bit tacky. Mine this time around did not do that. I didn't really have any tacky spots, but that is what the foil will stick to. So that piece, after letting it dry for a couple of seconds, and there's like this sweet spot in letting it dry. After letting it dry for a couple of seconds, you would still have those tacky areas that you could put the foil on and then peel it off. But you can't do it while it's too wet because then it won't stick to anything. Like I said, you kind of got to play with it and find that sweet spot. So here is just a different way of going about applying your colors and your mixative. So I don't have any alcohol blending solution down on here. This is just the colors on the Yupo paper. Speaking of saving money, you can do this on photo paper, but I have found it really depends on the photo paper that you have, and it's kind of hit or miss. So just play around with that if that's the route you're trying to go. So this time around, I am going to be much more particular about where I put my alcohol blending solution. I'm going to put it just kind of on the outskirts. And then I am going to use the air pump to kind of blow that around how I want. Now you can, because these are dry. I haven't put down a ton of alcohol coloring, you know what I mean, like the colorant. I haven't put down a ton and it's dry, so it's not going to really spread as far necessarily. But if you drop it and then you get on top of it with the air right quick, it's going to avoid giving that big bubble look or that polka dot look. So you can kind of play around with this on how soft you want it to be, how far you want your colors to go out by how close you get to it with the hand pump. But this gives a much more contrasting look. It kind of looks a little bit more ethereal, like it just looks a little bit more interesting than, the first piece where I dropped a bunch of color and then I dropped some alcohol blending solution on top of it and I had like these bubble spots. And this is just another way to look at it. If you like that look, that's totally okay. I have used that. I mean, I told you that's how I learned how to do it. So I didn't know how else to get a different look. And so I used that on cards for years. Now, this just gives me a little bit more control. And I actually saw, I'll have to see if I can find the video, a video where this artist did this kind of same idea where she only just did like little spots of color with metallic and only one color. And it was beautiful. So you can really kind of play around with this. I like a rainbow. I thought it would be more interesting to show you a rainbow. So you can certainly play around with this technique and see what ideas, you can get going. So here's the pieces after they are completely dry. And I'm just going to turn them into really simple cards. The Bitty Buzzwords Be Mine is probably a little bit more geared towards Valentine's Day, but my husband and I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. So I'll probably give one of these cards to my son with his little Valentine's Day gift. And then the other one, the You Just Get Me, like I can just send to anybody. So that was my point in bringing this up, is that they do have other sentiments in there. You know, they have like a Mr. and Mrs. They have, You Just Get Me, I'm here for you, you're my person. Like there's a lot of different ones in there that can be used for just, anyone. So I'm going to heat emboss my sentiments, cut them into labels, and then I'm going to use the dies that match to cut out my U's. So, yeah, just the last time we talked, I was going back to work. I'm a little bit apprehensive because I am, again, now I work. I'm not going back to work each time. Each time now it's just me going to work like I did before. And we have this crazy storm that's coming in. I think they even named it. I think it's landed. I can't be positive. Eric yells at me all the time for not watching the news, and I tell him it's because it's so depressing that I don't want to watch it. So, anywho, the storm is supposed to come in Wednesday night, and I work Tuesday night and Wednesday night. And so it's supposed to be rain that turns into sleet, that turns into feet of snow. And the place that I work, obviously we're, essential workers, all that jazz in the middle of an emergency. But here is my problem. My problem is that I am off technically on Thursday. I'm off Thursday night, but I get off of work Thursday morning. And it's supposed to have snowed and all that jazz overnight, Wednesday into Thursday morning. And I know, that they're going to call off school. For sure. Nobody's going to school in snowstorm Landon, but that means you have to have childcare. And this is the plight of every working parent. Because when they call off school, you have to take care of your child. Or you have to find somebody else who can do it. So that's all well and good. But the problem is that if I work Wednesday night, I have to sleep Thursday. I have to sleep Thursday during the day, or I will have been up for 1 million hours. And with 2 children, especially with one, if it was just Peanut, like, reverse a year ago and it's just Peanut, it would probably be fine. I could nap on the couch while he watched TV and we would be fine. Except, for those of you saying, what about their dad? Well, Eric is wonderful, and I'm sure if I needed him to, in fact, he even offered to try to see if he could juggle to move his schedule around, not to have the whole day off, but to not have to go in that morning. But he has to work a double that day. So what do we do? What do we do? So the plight of the working parent and the snow day, it's rough. It is rough because our parents help us quite a bit. His mom drives out here. My mom takes the kids. There's a lot of wonderful help and support, but I don't want them out in the snowstorm either. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not okay. So I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to play it by ear and see how it goes. But this is one of the, like, I try not to be envious of other people. I don't think that it's a very attractive trait. But I am very envious of women in other countries or parents in other countries in certain cases that get an extended leave off with their children. The US offers 12 weeks of which you are paid with your own sick time. And if you don't have sick time or vacation or holiday or some way to pay yourself, then you take it unpaid. And there's just not a whole lot of, we're always, like we talked about in previous videos, the US is all about, the almighty dollar and, working an 80-hour work week to get ahead. And I got to tell you that it's not worth it. Coming from a woman who had to work 4 jobs while I was in the middle of getting divorced just to make sure that my son had the things that he needed, Yeah, it's not worth it. So, anywho, we'll figure out how that goes. And I'm hoping that the storm maybe is not as bad as they were thinking it was going to be. But I highly doubt I'm going to be that far off the mark, right? And it's only the beginning of February. Somebody had posted a meme and they were like, oh, side note to the card. This is the back to basics gem stickers, which I totally love. Somebody had posted a meme like, what did it say? This January's lasted a long year. Yeah. And that's what it feels like. It's been a very long January. And we're only just out of it. It's only February 1st. So we still got a little bit more winter to go. But somebody else had posted, a more optimistic person had posted something along the lines of there's only 12 Sundays until spring. And that I am here for. That I am here for. You will see in some of my upcoming cards that I'm definitely feeling the spring vibe. I do have still some winter stuff going on that I'm creating with, but every once in a while I got to take a break to get a flower or a something in there because so much snow. So much snow. So anyway, that is both of the cards. I hope that you learned a little bit something about alcohol inks. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.